Hello, my name is Haley and welcome to my channel. I'm still trying to figure out this whole video thing, so please pardon the lighting and the weird angle and the lack of video quality. I'm still trying to piece things together. My best friend is currently living in Japan, working in Japan, and teaching English, and I had the amazing opportunity of going to visit her. Going to Japan has been a dream of mine literally since kindergarten. I had a friend from Japan, and I remember asking her tons and tons of questions about the language and the culture, and it was so fascinating to me, and I wanted to go to Japan. I wanted to go to Japan. Before my trip a couple months ago, one of the things that I did was look up a bunch of videos of other people talking about their experiences in Japan. I did this to get myself excited and also to prepare myself for some of the cultural things that I may not have been expecting. So in case you're going to Japan, here's a video to get you excited, and if you're not going to Japan, maybe this video will convince you that you should. I'm going to talk about the things that I found different or surprising. The first thing is vending machines. There are vending machines everywhere in Japan. They line the streets. You can't go 2 feet without seeing a vending machine in Tokyo. I'm not complaining. I loved it because I always knew I could get something if I wanted it. But the vending machines there look different than the ones here in America. Instead of just pictures, they have the actual bottles on display so that you know exactly what you're getting. And each bottle is labeled with either blue or red. Blue is for cold drinks. And get this, red is for hot drinks. Hot drinks out of a vending machine. Hot drinks! I went in May, so there was no reason for me to get a hot drink. But the whole time I was there, I was like, if it was winter, I could just sit here and drink something warm right out of the vending machine. It would be great. My drink of choice was Pocari Sweat, which admittedly doesn't sound very good because it's a drink that has sweat in the name, but I loved it. I found out that you can get some in my hometown, but it's not as good here as it is in Japan. You have to go through the ridiculous humidity and seeing a vending machine and going up to it and picking out your change and putting it in and pressing the button and getting the Pocari Sweat. Also, they had cigarette vending machines, which I didn't expect. I know we used to have them here a while ago, but I'd never seen one before. It was weird to think that it was just kind of there and potentially anybody could walk by and buy a cigarette. The second thing is trash sorting. Japan really is doing a lot of good by having all of their trash sorting laws, but it's a pain in the butt. In Japan, you have to separate your trash into like 4 different categories of burnables and non-burnables and food, and there's all these categories that I didn't understand at first, like what is a PET bottle? I still don't know what's a PET bottle. What this does is it reduces the total amount of trash because things can be recycled easily, things can be burned easily, and so on. But when you're an American on a trip and you don't know about any of these rules, and then you go to throw away a bottle, it's a little confusing realizing that you have to like peel off the label and put it in one thing and then take the bottle and put it in another. Like I said, I think it's fantastic that they do that. But nobody here in America would do that. Nobody would take the time to say, well, this piece of trash goes in this trash bag and this piece of trash goes in this trash bag. So honestly, I have a lot of respect for the Japanese people for taking the time to do that. You would think with such strict trash rules, they would have specific trash cans around, but it was so hard to find a trash can in Japan. I don't know why. If you were out on the street and you had a bottle or food that you didn't want anymore and you were trying to throw it away, it was so hard to find a trash can. In America, if that were the case, people would litter all the time. But in Japan, they just hold on to it. I had like hordes of trash in my backpack while I was in Tokyo, just waiting for a trash can so I could finally throw it away. Another thing that surprised me were the rules in changing rooms. One of my favorite stores in Japan was Uniqlo, which you can technically go to in America, but it's more fun to go in Japan. When I went into the dressing room, they had me remove my shoes, which I forgot about, but expected because it's Japan and that's part of their culture. Then they gave me this like fabric bag to put over my head so that when I changed clothes, my makeup didn't transfer onto their clothes. It makes sense, but it was a very weird experience to change shirts with a bag over my head. I wasn't even wearing makeup. Maybe I should have taken that as a compliment. One kind of weird thing that I loved about Japan was the displays of food at restaurants. In front of places to eat, they would have these like wax plastic detailed models of the food that they were serving. So if you were trying to decide if you wanted to eat there, you could look at all the plastic models and decide what looked good. It was really helpful as a foreigner because I could look at what I thought was good and then find the Japanese word and then take a picture of it and then go to the menu and try to find the same thing. But these models are gorgeous and apparently they're really expensive. Most places that I went in Tokyo had these models. Souvenir culture is kind of a big thing in Japan. I'm gonna pronounce this wrong, but they call it omeyagi. In a lot of train stations and things, I saw stores that were selling specifically souvenir things to bring back for coworkers. Usually it was food, like individually wrapped in a bunch of boxes. My friend that lives in Japan, everywhere we went, she was like, oh, I have to get omeyagi for my coworkers. I think it's kind of like a, I'm sorry that I got to go on vacation and you didn't, so here's some food, sorry. I thought it was interesting because here, if we go on a trip, you don't buy things for your coworkers. Maybe you buy things for your family or some friends, you buy them one little thing, but for the most part, you don't really care about your coworkers at all. One of the biggest souvenir things in Tokyo was Tokyo banana. Apparently it's a big deal and people come to Tokyo and one of the specific things that they buy for other people is Tokyo banana. I didn't try one because they're pretty expensive. When I first got there, the very first thing to annoy me were these yellow like bumps everywhere I went, on the street and in the airport, and at that point I had my suitcase with me. So I was trying to drag it behind me and sometimes it would hit the bumps and flip over. It was a pain in the butt and I hated them. Then for this video I looked up what they are. Apparently they're tactile paving so that when someone who is blind is walking along the street, they know where they're going. So the whole time we were there, internally I was like, I hate these bumps, they're so stupid, what is the point? My suitcase keeps flipping. They were for people who are blind. So now I feel like a jerk. The last thing that I wasn't expecting was to be stared at. In Tokyo, nobody cared. It was like, you're another tourist, white lady, go away. My friend lives more in the country where there really aren't a ton of tourists. Now, I am a blonde white lady. Here at home, that just gives me privilege. I am very much a majority. But in this town I went to in Japan, nobody looked like me. I'm blonde and I have blue eyes. That's basically the complete opposite of people in Japan. Everywhere that we went in this town, we would get these like side stares. I remember we were waiting at a bus stop and cars kept driving past us and everyone in their car was like, who are these white people? Why are you here? What are you doing? I didn't really mind that much, but the weirdest part was that when you made eye contact with them, they wouldn't smile. My friend told me that this was because they didn't want you to think that they were laughing at you or making fun of you, which is so nice and considerate, what the heck? But it just made the situation a little bit more uncomfortable. Even though I found some of these things different than what I'm used to, my time in Japan was absolutely amazing. If you get the chance, if you get the opportunity and you're on the fence about it, go. Just go. It's amazing. I find that you're more likely to regret the things you didn't do rather than the things that you did. That's all from me. Thanks for watching and putting up with my lighting and camera things as I'm still trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing. Oh, look at that! We're in an end screen. Well, these buttons are here, so you may as well go ahead and press them and subscribe to my channel and like it and all the other things that I'm supposed to tell you to do. I've also probably put a link to the video I made about my entire trip in Japan. Thank you again for watching, and hopefully I will see you later. Bye! Oh, and has this shadow been on my face the whole time? I'm not fixing it.